Hey everyone, I'm Sam with Growth Galleries, and today I'm coming here to talk to you about how I schedule my remote telescope with Nina. So, if you have no idea what that means and you're looking for content on a wide field landscape astrophotography, then I recommend you go check out some of my other videos or a lot of my live streams that I have available. Those will be much more useful to you. But if you're into deep sky astrophotography and you're looking how to automate your setup, then this is the perfect place for you. So I'll cover a few different aspects. So I use a Casa Power Switch to reboot my PC every day. So we'll talk about how that works. And then I have a bat file on my Windows PC that runs at startup to start Nina and execute the sequence. And then we'll talk about the sequence and also the plugins that I'm using. So let's hop right into it and jump over to my phone here. So if we look over at my phone here, you'll see one of the apps I have on my phone is this Casa app. So I open the Casa app, and if I open, I get to this screen that says all devices here. And when you have all devices here, you see that one of the plugs, my outlet is on, and my setup is pretty fine-tuned, so it only requires one plug in the switch, so I probably could have bought a switch with less plugs in it, but oh well, this works. So if we go to this specific plug, so obviously I had to create an account, log in, connect my Casa to my account, all those things. Assuming you've done all those things, you can come to the app and see this screen. You select the plug that you care about. I come here. You can see there is several options that you have on the specific plug. You can set timers, some way, energy, etc. And so the one I care about here is the schedule. And so under the schedule here, I have two things. So first of all, after 55 minutes after sunrise, I will shut down my PC or power it off, turn off the power on the switch. And so my goal with my sequence is to make sure my PC is powered off before it gets to 55 minutes after sunset, and we'll look at how I'm accomplishing that, or sunrise, I mean. And then at sunset, we also have a similar switch, except we're turning the power on. And a few minutes before sunset, we will turn the power on to start up Nina and to execute the sequence. So this is one way to schedule your PC to reboot, and that's what I'm using it for. So I also had to set up, I'm not going to cover this today, set up the registry in Windows to reboot on Power Cycle. And so I highly recommend that if you're getting a remote telescope setup, that you have this type of like power switch, either Casa or DLI, or there's probably several others that do similar things where you can remotely control the power and allow you to reboot your PC. So now that we've looked at how the Casa setup is scheduled, now we're going to swap over to my remote PC now. So you can see here on my remote PC that I have the bat file here. So this bat file is used for starting Nina. And so at startup, which means that the file is in this directory under users, your username, then app data, roaming, Microsoft Windows, start menu, program startup. Under there, this file exists, and if this file exists there, then it will be executed when the PC reboots. So we set up a variable called application path here, which is set to the Nina's directory. And then we set another variable, which are the options that get passed into Nina. And so the two key parameters are sequence file, which is the path to my to the sequence that you want to execute. For me, that's this directory here. And then you have to have a -- run sequence as a second option. So then you just start the application. So you hit start, and then you give application path, and then options, and it will execute the application, the variable that we set here, that application with these arguments. So that's how the startup configuration works. Once you've got that set up, then you can go into Nina and set up the actual sequence here, right? So for my sequence is called complex complete. You can call it whatever you want. I was just coming up with names here that maybe made sense to me at the time, but maybe in general are not the best names. But so you could be more descriptive and say like my deep sky setup or whatever, like that runs perpetually or something. I don't know. Maybe that's too many words, but you could make it more descriptive than this. So if we hop over into Nina, go to the sequencer. I'm going to walk through this sequence and try to explain my logic and reasoning behind why I chose to do specific things. So I have a start, an imaging, and an end. So if we open the start first, you're going to see a bunch of different tasks here that may look complicated, but I think if once I explain it, hopefully it'll be clear. So I have initially wait time for nautical dusk. So that'll be sometime after sunset. And then when that happens, I connect to the safety monitor. So for me, this safety monitor is configured over under equipment, and the safety monitor just connects to a roof file is what we call it, and the roof file says that the roof is open or not open. That's all you need to know about this, and you can have a similar setup for your configuration. If you have an automated roof, it can automatically swap some file or some web page that has a value in it where you can look up the value to see if your roof is open or closed. And so that's what the safety monitor does. So then I wait for 30 seconds and then wait until the roof is safe, which again looks at the safety monitor here. And currently you can see that it's waiting for that because it's a very cloudy night and the roof is not going to open tonight. So this will just wait forever here. And so that's the one edge case that this sequence does not cover. If the roof does not open, it will sit here, wait forever and all night, and then the PC will get powered down by the CASA schedule, and then it'll just like hard shut off the computer, which is probably not the best thing. So I should probably figure out a solution to that edge case, which I could probably figure out some loop condition here, but I'll have to work on that at some point. If you have suggestions and you've solved this problem, let me know. So you can, after you wait until safe, everything is safe, then it connects all equipment. And so that will just go through all of your configured equipment, your main camera, your mount, your guide scope, filter wheel, focuser, any equipment that you have, it will connect everything. So this comes from a plugin. I'll tell you which one when we're talking about the plugins. And then I wait for 90 seconds, make sure everything connects. And then I open my flat panel. So if you're not familiar with flat panel, it's just a panel that sits in front of your scope, and it can light up so you can take flats, or it can just be a cover so that you can take darks or biases. It's really useful. I really appreciated the ease of use of this versus what the alternatives are. And so then I also, in a parallel, try to make sure my telescope is in the home position, just to be safe. Like my end also sequence should also find the home position, but for whatever reason that failed, then I always make sure my telescope is in the home position to be safe. My scope has pretty good safety in it, and I have tried to slew past the horizon and crash my scope several times, and it's stopped me from doing that. And so my mount probably is pretty safe against failures like this, but in the past I've definitely had these kind of failures with some other mounts like my ZWA M5, which has slewed past where it's supposed to go and run into things. So also I'm start cooling my camera right away, and so one of the reasons that I start before it's really completely dark out with my setup here is that it takes like a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, to cool my camera to around -10 degrees. So that's why I'm starting early here. And then I again wait for nautical dusk. I forget why this is here. I feel like this is duplicate of what's above. There was probably a case in the past where it made sense for me to have this here, but at this point I don't think it makes sense. I guess I could wait for Astro Dark or something, which would make more sense in this case. So probably you don't need this wait here. Okay, so set tracking. I don't know. There could be an edge case here, but I don't remember what it is. I don't think there's an edge case, because if I'm waiting for nautical dusk here, it wouldn't make sense to do it again here. All right, so set tracking, I set to sidereal, and then I run an autofocus. And so I have focus points configured in here so that I only focus once every night, and then when the HFR increases by a certain amount, I will focus run autofocus again. But other than that, I don't focus when I switch filters. So that's why I'm running autofocus here in the start. So then we come to the imaging. You can see in the imaging here, I have another loop condition, which is to loop until nautical dawn. So loop all night when it's dark. And then I have two cases here that are in the immediate sequential instruction set here. So one is when it's safe and when it's unsafe. So safe is when the roof is open and it's okay for me to be shooting, and unsafe is when the roof is closed. So this automatically handles the case when the roof opens and closes during the night. And so the unsafe, let's look at that first quickly, is like when the roof closes, the safe case here will be triggered to not loop, and it will fall into the unsafe case. And then it will stop guiding, it will stop tracking, it will find the home position and wait until safe. And then if the roof reopens, it will wait for some time span and make sure that the roof stays open, and then it will set the tracking to sidereal, and then it will continue into the safe case over here. And so then we have one sequence here, so of M45. So this is a very simple sequence that I use. So I'll walk through the different steps. So inside of here, this is the triggers are the meridian flip, center after a certain amount of drift, restore guiding, I dither every exposure, and autofocus after HFR increase. So these are the triggers. These run after every single capture or here that it will check these conditions. If any of these conditions are met, it will do the execution of whatever those triggers are. So then when do we loop here within a specific target here? So the M45 target. So we're going to loop while it's safe, while the roof is open, and we're going to loop until a specific time. So I think tonight it's around 10:45 is when the target of M45 will be around 20 degrees. So if your limit for shooting is 20 degrees on the horizon, then this is the right time to loop until. And I guess I can give you some insight into why I choose loop until time here. So I use loop until time here because if you use any of the other looping conditions, if the roof closes and reopens, you might run into a case where it'll start executing some other target that you don't want it to execute on, right? So even like so in this case it's a very simple case, right? Like I have one target that I'm executing on, and I'm just looping over the arc red, green, and blue filters here and taking exposures of each of those. And within this time period, I just wanted to continue to do that. But if I wanted to do something more complex, like say I wanted to shoot oxygen frames until the moon rose, and then I wanted to shoot hydrogen frames, in order to guarantee that it would do that properly when the roof opens and closes, right, I would shoot one target here for oxygen, right? And wouldn't make sense for me to shoot oxygen at M45. But for example, if I shot oxygen at M45 here, in one instance of this target shooting, right? Then if I duplicated it here, and then I made a second one for hydrogen, then all I have to do is change this time loop condition here, right? And say that I want to, if the target was still above the horizon, right, I could shoot until like, say, let's say 4:45 a.m. or something, right? And then or 3:4. Say the moon rose at 3:45 a.m. Then I could continue shooting, say, hydrogen data for my target, right? So then I'll actually do that here just to show you so you can see. So this, in this more complex example, it'd be hydrogen here, right? And I would continue to shoot hydrogen. You can probably make this number much larger too, right? Like 30 or something, right? And then it'll just continuously shoot hydrogen data at 30 here, right? And then in the oxygen one here, I would do this similar thing here, where I pick my filter, my oxygen filter here, and then I'm shooting oxygen frames for the period of the interval that happens before this 10:45 p.m. here. So yeah, that's the basic idea here. So I guess a couple other things I should mention in the instructions. I skipped over the fact that I do a slew and center here, right? So this takes the coordinates specified up here in the target, and then it will will make sure that the scope is centered on that target, so that you can get the same field of view again, right? Since you're saving the whole sequence, every time you come back, you will see this. So another thing that I'm sure to do is I always save my targets for reuse. So I prefer that you can save templates and targets. So templates will save all of the instructions here, like all the triggers, loop conditions, and instructions, but it doesn't save the target information up here. So if you save with the circle here with the target, and that'll be the third tab over on the right side here, you can save your target with your exact coordinates, and then all of the other triggers, loop conditions, and instructions saved as well. So yeah, so one thing that I don't have is I don't have a rotator in my scope. So another thing you can do here is it also saves the rotation of your camera, and so everything can be saved with this setup. So yeah, I think that mostly covers everything. Oh, I start guiding here too, and the beginning of my sequence. I always do that in all my my targets. It might probably duplicate of the what I do in my star sequence, but it's always safe to make sure that you're doing starting guiding, and it's not something like autofocus or whatever where it will take a long time. So that's the basic thought process that I go through when I set up my targets, and like this is scalable, right? I showed the example here with one target, two different filters. You could do this with one target, 3 or 4 different filters, or 2 targets or 3 targets. I think the most I've ever done is 4 different targets in one night. And again, it was not just different filters; it was four different targets because I was trying to wrap up images on them. And so this continues this process that I found here. This seems to continue to work well for me, and it's covered all of my use cases so far. Maybe there might be a simpler way to do that. There might be plugins that work well, but this process works for me, and I'm someone who usually looks at my scope every night. So if I have to make small changes here, right, and with regards to the moon phase or the moon location, then I'll come here and make the changes. I don't need it to be fully automated where I don't have to interact with it for like days or a week or so. And then we covered the unsafe case here. the safe case, and so as long as this outer looping condition here of looping till nautical dawn is still met, it will loop under this safe or unsafe, and when it's safe, it will shoot images of whatever it's scheduled to do here in these different targets. All right, so that's my thought process behind how I do my imaging, and then at the end of the night, I have a few steps here. I stop guiding, I find the home position, close my flat panel cover, warm up my camera, disconnect all my equipment, and then wait. And so this wait is intended to allow my photos to upload. So I auto upload all of my images to Google Drive. So this sleep here is for, I don't know, 50 minutes, I think. And that's much more than long enough to upload all my photos. Usually it's probably done within 5 minutes or so. But then after it's done this up here for 50 minutes, it will shut down the PC. And this is using another plugin. So I'll show you what it is. So that's the full process. It's probably got a lot of steps in it. It took me a while to refine this, and I reference several other people's implementations as well as reading a lot of documentation online in order to come to this, and obviously experimentation as well. But this has been working really well for me for several months now. So let's look at the plugins quickly here. So there's a lot of plugins here that I don't particularly use. So one thing is the Discord alert. I don't use that. That's a pretty useful feature if you want to get live updates on if your setup is actually working or not. That could be useful. Probably you have to set up your Discord server and then configure it to this plugin to send alerts to that. It seems like a useful thing. I've seen other people who use it, so it probably works. Exposure calculator, I don't use that one. Filter offset calculator, I can't remember if I used this filter offset calculator for my my filter offsets or I used something else. I believe there's a number of different ways to do this. I can't remember which one I used off the top of my head right now. It's been like 3 or 4 months. We have sequence power-ups. I don't think I'm using this one. The shutdown PC, that one is obvious if the shutdown instruction that I was doing comes from this plugin. Target scheduler, this is probably a simpler way to do scheduling of your targets than what I'm doing, but I'm not using it. And then 3-point polar alignment is not really applicable to this discussion. So the other plugin that I use other than shutdown PC is the connector. So the connector is the plugin that allows me to connect and disconnect to all of my equipment without manually pressing any buttons like the power button down here for connecting or manually going and selecting each and every piece of equipment, which would be the two alternatives. This connector just has instructions that do everything for you. So this is extremely useful, has worked very well. I don't think I can say there's been an issue with it. I've had trouble connecting to my mount several times, but I can't say that's the plugin's fault itself. I would restart my PC and it works. So I would say like 90% of the time, or at least this connector has worked well. If it's caused the problems with the connection to the mount, I don't know. But in general, it works. And then let's see here. And then shutdown PC is the other one I use. The bat file with the sequence run that we looked at, that feature may come from the sequence power-ups. I don't know for sure if that's built in, or target scheduler. I'm not sure which one, where that feature comes from, or it's built into Nina. I could try uninstalling these plugins and seeing if it works, but at this point my setup is running and I don't really want to mess with it. But yeah, if you want to try without the power, these sequence power up and target scheduler, and then you're following my process and it's not working, I would try installing these plugins and then see if it works. Yeah, so a lot of these the bat file setup and whatever, this is not very well documented, and it was a little bit of trial and error to get it to work. It doesn't like give a bunch of logs and stuff when it fails, so it's harder to debug. But if you like basically copy exactly the file I have and edit to put your exact directories in, then it should work well for you, and hopefully you won't have to go through the debugging steps that I went through. So I think that's a pretty good overview of my whole process, and I hope this is helpful to you, and I hope you have some clear skies. And if you're thinking about getting a remote set up for your telescope, that's worked really great for me, and I've been able to image, I think, I don't even know exactly what I'm up to now, but I'm probably up to like close to 700 hours of imaging since September of last year. And so, yeah, it's about, what, 4 months, four, I think it's 4 months now. 5 months, almost 5 months now. So that's a lot more data than I could ever collect in my backyard. So if that's something that you're considering, I would say that I recommend it. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. I guess you can't reach out directly through YouTube, but you can definitely find me on Instagram or my website or somewhere else. And make sure you're subscribing so you don't miss out on any other videos that I release on deep sky astrophotography or any other like astro topics you might be interested in. Thanks for watching.